Today marked the third departure of the bailout troika institutions. For 2 weeks, every 3 months, they come over to assess the progress of the government implementing the terms of the bailout. This afternoon, they had their third end-of-term, so to speak, press conference, and it was all sweetness and light. Everyone was very positive. The troika team had very good things to say about the government, and the government called the troika people pragmatic people, so there was a general air of positivity. Not much in terms of substance. There were no visible signs of disagreement between the government and the troika. If anything, one of the areas that had been contentious, the issue of the size of the privatization program, seems to have been won by the government. Back in September, the IMF said it wanted a privatization program to raise €5 billion. That seems to be off the agenda entirely now. The Commission member of the Troika, the European Commission member of the Troika, spoke about the importance of privatisation in relation to structural improvements in the functioning of the Irish economy rather than the issue of how much money it raised. From the government side, the government was very anxious to talk about not having a fire sale of assets, and this would depress the price of the privatised assets, and the government is very anxious to avoid that. Probably the most talked about matter in recent weeks has been the size of the budget adjustment. The government is committed to a budget adjustment next year of $3.6 billion. That compares with $6 billion this year. So it's smaller than last year, but it's still a very significant amount. There have been calls, including from the newly established Independent Fiscal Council, that the adjustment should be at least $4 billion, if not $4.4 billion. Today, the government, Michael Noonan, the Minister of Finance, all but ruled out the bigger picture, saying that he wasn't convinced by that idea of having a bigger adjustment. And the bailout people were not, in any sense, as they say, fixated on a number. So that there doesn't seem to be any pressure coming from the bailout troika to go down to have a much expanded budgetary adjustment next year. So it would seem that the range for the budget adjustment come December will be between $3.6 billion and $4 billion. So as a background and context to all of this, everyone wants a success from this, but the Irish government wants to appear as though it's doing everything to keep the momentum towards rebuilding confidence in the Irish economy going. And from the Troika side, there is a really strong desire to make sure that one of these bailout programs is working. There are 3 countries in a bailout. Portugal is one of them, and it's in the early stages of its bailout. Greece is clearly in the headlines all the time for the wrong reasons, and the Troika very much want there to be a success, that by sticking to the programme, sticking to the austerity plan, that progress can be made. And Ireland is the poster child of that austerity programme adjustment, and very much this has given the Irish government some leeway, it seems, having implemented all of the terms of the bailout so far. This has strengthened their hand, and this may have been visible on the issue of privatisation, where it seems to have moved more in the government's direction. So both the government press conference today and the IMF-EU ECB press conference was very upbeat. In fact, by the end of the second press conference, that was the Troika press conference, one of the members felt obliged to talk about downside risks. In other words, that's the danger of bad things happening. And they listed off a number of things, including the international situation, just to play down any sense that we're out of the woods. They concluded their press conference by saying Ireland's not out of the woods by a long shot, but is making good progress.